Have the winner of the last match, Clinton, with his Chronofang deck. The antagonist, who defeated the wall. Go.
Trump. Anyway, for my starter for Chronofang, I am using TikTok Worker. Obviously, one of the better starters for Gear Chronicle at this point in time. For those who do not know what it does, it's a GB1 ability. You will put it into your soul, and at the end of the battle, one of your other rearguard attacks, you can shove it in there and just time with that same unit.
The shades, bro.
And the star of the deck, you run 4 Chronofang Tiger. Chronofang Tiger is a very interesting card. I kind of think of him as the Blaster Dark Diablo of the deck. And his on-ride ability is, when you ride it, choose one card in your hand and bind it. And you will be able to return one of your opponent's units to the bottom of their deck, and they will search their deck for one card that is 2 grades less than that. If they do not pick anything, obviously they don't grab anything. So, sucks to be them.
True.
Back up the unit. He's usually my rearguard of choice. Square 1 Dragon. He is one of the new Mega Blasters from GBT07. So, his abilities are Counterblast 1, Counterblast 4, my mistake, Soul Blast 6 at the GB1 skill. Your opponent returns all their units to the bottom of their deck. Seems pretty devastating. You probably will never actually get it off. What he's actually useful for are the other abilities. And those are his second one, GB1. At the end of your turn, you may soul charge one. This, in Chronofang, is very crucial, as the soul is used for a lot of our costs. Like, I cannot stress this enough, how important our soul is. What it is you soul blast, what it is that goes into the soul. It's all just important. His final ability is a Soul Blast 1 cost. And when it's called to rearguard, you may pay the cost, and if you do, it will become a grade 0 to end turn. What this opens up is numerous amounts of plays you can make for Time Leap specifically. And we'll get to that in a moment. For grade 2s, currently I'm running 2 Smoke Ear Dragon, 10k vanilla, nothing else to really say about that. Base is good for defense. That's about it. Yeah, vanillas are kind of a trademark. 4 Steam Knight Murdar. This is probably the MVP. He is a great card. And his abilities are an act that activates in the bind zone. You may Soul Blast 1 and you can call it to rearguard. Not GB1 specific, and it will get plus 2k till end of turn. His second ability is a Time Leap ability. So as GB1, you may bind this unit, him specifically, face up. When it hits the Vanguard, you may soul charge a card. And if you do, you can time leap one of your other rearguards. Clearly you cannot use it to just time leap himself because he will be gone. But this is sort of like a hit and run tactic that you would use to get out of the way for things like maybe Link Joker that are going to lock your front row anyway. But that's only if he hits, so that's the downside to him. Why? Alright, the next grade 2 I'm running is Steam Knight Lugal. Lugal is...
Tom.
Yeah, he's a Tom. He's a Tom. Not free Tom, but he gets power, so you can't go wrong with that.
Oh, okay, Tom.
His ability is GB1, Counterblast 1. When it's placed on the rearguard circle, it doesn't matter from where, you can pay the cost, and if you do, it gets plus 2k, and the Tom skill that we all are aware of. Your opponent cannot guard to the attack with grade 0s when he attacks the Vanguard.
Yay, Tom.
Next grade 2. 2 History Maker Dragons. Very rarely do I ever need him, but when I do need him, he always comes in at clutch moments to help for Square 1 Dragon plays, because when Square 1's a grade 0, you can turn them into a grade 1, such as Merlin or whatever her name is, and just continue your onslaught of attacks. I'm only running 2 right now. This may or may not go up as I get more of a feel for the deck. And my final grade 2 I'm running are 2 Steam Knight Calibum. Okay. 8K, you use him for early game removal. If your opponent has rearguards that are just too stressful for you, such as starters, or if they just have to rush you. His ability is, when he's called to the rearguard circle, you can choose one of your opponent's units, rearguards, my mistake, and shuffle it back to the deck. And they will search for one unit that is a grade less, up to 1, and call it to rearguard.
Okay. Word.
For grade 1s, as the grade 1 space is really tight, this will obviously be changing. I'm running one of the new quintet. SP.
That expensive quintet wall.
It's not even expensive. It's like $9. It's like,
Man,
For a quintet wall?
man,
Okay,
we
yeah,
broke
you're
out
right.
here, dog.
You're right.
No, that's a quintet wall. You should not be paying more than $1 for.
In any point, it's obviously has the quintet wall ability for the counterblast. You're going to call the top 5 cards to the Guardian Circle. We all know what that does. But what she's really useful for is her second ability. When she hits the drop zone, you will bind one other unit that's in your drop zone, something that isn't her, and you can add any 2 cards that you want from your drop zone into your deck, and then shuffle. That shuffle is also very crucial, as in the event if you G-guard, you will get that shuffle that you so desperately need for Ululu and whatnot. My other grade 1s so far, 2 vanilla perfects, because I really wanted to just trade this for more of the regular ones.
Damn, you got each one.
Shut up.
Damn, you got each one.
I decided to go with one of every kind of Sentinel just because it's what I had on me. Don't judge me, please.
Sell that SP, yo.
I really want to. I would trade this snap for 4 of the original ones just for,
Well, you should be able to get 4,
yeah, hopefully.
depending on how much she costs.
One Gigi. Gigi is only in here right now because I did not have a second TikTok worker on me. But Gigi would be a replacement for TikTok. Because TikTok's just too clutch and you use your soul very often. But having one in here isn't bad. If you're not getting the hand that you need, feel free to run it. Helps withdraw. 2 Steam Maiden Danish. Danish is also a very good card. Very great grade 1 to have when your opponent is just filling up their field and you feel the need to disrupt it. When she's called to rearguard circle from anywhere, you choose one of your opponent's rearguards. You know what? It's the same exact ability as Cabal. No need to explain myself twice on the same video.
His name is Cabal.
Yeah, it's a dumb name. I don't make them.
Sure ain't you, bro.
MVP grade 1 of the games, though, are 3 Steam Maiden Mellums.
My favorite.
Mellums, these cards are extremely clutch, especially if you're running additional TikToks. What she does is an upstream clone, so you would give her +4 when she attacks the Vanguard, and if you do, you will turn her to the deck and grab a grade 0. Really clutch, helps for push plays, rushing, pick poking. And the final grade 1 of this deck is Parallel Barrel Dragon. Parallel Barrel Dragon is a very interesting new card because he triggers in the bind zone, and what he does is GB1, rest one of your other rearguards, and you can call it to an open rearguard and give it +4 on the turn. So he'll become an 11k attacker. Also nice for pushing. His cost is a little up there, but there are very easy ways to get around that and not make it seem nearly as bad as it may read to you. Such as resting a TikTok worker that you probably won't boost anyway, or a trigger that you're going to time leap or push into soul. Really easy ways to just make up for it. Speaking of triggers, we're getting to those now. With 4 heals, Steam and Ululu, doesn't really matter what heals you pick. 8 crit. 2 Lucky Pot Draco Kids, helps fuel soul, like I said from before, also helps the Parallel Belt Dragon plays. and 2 Steam Butler
in the water.
Water. Very clutch card. Very easy to search for in the event that you need to search him for additional draw powers. What he does is GB1, when it put it to the bottom of your deck, when it's placed into the bind zone from your rearguard circle, you will draw 2 cards and pick 1 card from your hand, any card, and put it back to the deck and shuffle. Cannot say that there would be a better substitute for a stand yet. Alright. As for my G zone, currently it is 4 Ragnarok dragons. Ragnarok is a Tom ability card with an innate crit. You can't go wrong with that. You can't.
Yep.
Cannot. Just can't.
Pretty much just GB2 gets a crit.
Yeah. It's usually my first go-to play if in the event I G-guard first. Otherwise, we'll get to my other first turn play. Also running 4 Bind Time Dragons. Bind Time Dragon is another innate crit card. His cost may seem a little much at first, but as long as you're on Chronofang, it is nothing to worry about.
Or a Gear Beast.
Any Gear Beast, yeah.
Any Gear Beast.
But for this deck, Chronofang, because I have not yet tested with Gearhawk. What it does is Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 1, choose a face down card named Bind Time Dragon, Energy Zone, turn it face up, and what he does is when it attacks, you can pay the cost, and if you do, choose 1 or more of your rear guards, bind them face up. This unit gets plus 10,000 power, another crit to end the turn. And for each card in your bind zone, your opponent chooses 1 of his or her rear guards and puts it to the bottom of their deck in any order. If you have a Gear Beast heart, he essentially becomes free because he will soul charge you and counter charge you. Very nice for pressuring your opponent. My initial first stride card, Interdimensional Dragon, Warp Drive Dragon. Warp Drive is another Persona flipper. There seems to be a lot of them in this deck, but that will probably change the more I test with it. I have the Knack skill, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, flip itself. Choose up to the same number of rear guards as you have face up Warp Drive in your G zone. You may time leap them. And then you, for each card that you time leap, you choose one of your opponent's units, rear guards, and equal then or less to the number of cards that time leap. And your opponent puts it in the bottom of their deck. Just shove them straight away. Enable GB2. Really nice. Also run 1 Fiery March Colossus. Can't say too much about it. I rarely actually use it. So if anything, it's usually just my last resort card. Or it's my fodder if I'm going for G assisting if I ever need to. I would recommend not doing that though. And the staple, 1 Air Element Sea Breeze. Get your carrots because this horse is here to stay.
What?
For G Guardians, currently running 4. May or may not bump up depending on how the meta shifts. Running 1 Highbrow Steam Rafana. Rafana is another setup card in my opinion. She's really nice at a 1-of. I wouldn't recommend running any more than 1. But what she does is when you call her to the Guardian Circle, you may put 1 of your grade 1 or higher rear guards to the bottom of your deck and search your deck for 1 grade 0 unit and call that unit. If you call a grade 0, this gets plus 10k shield. Usually that's used for additional TikTok plays, so you set up for your following turns. Nice to have. And finally, we got 3 Retroactive Time Maiden Ululus. Can't go wrong with Ululus, probably one of the better G-Guards out of the Fighters collection.
One of the best.
And what she does, if you are not already familiar with her, is when she's called to the Guardian Circle, you can choose up to 1 normal unit and 1 trigger unit from your drop zone, put them to the bottom of your deck in any order, And if you put 2 cards away this way, she's going to get plus 5k shield. Really nice. Really helps refuel your deck.
Right.
What is this?
I don't know.
Grand Police, we don't need you.
Now read the flavor text.
I don't want to.
Oh my gosh.
That's-
Well, thank you
that's
for
a-
the deck. And now we will be doing a lot more. Chronofang, we're out.
Chicken. I was getting ready to pack up.
Go away.